I think that out of all the video sharing platforms, Twitch is the most notorious for throwing out bans willy-nilly, and these usually come in the form of temporary suspensions, but every now and then they throw the book in and give creators permanent bans. In this video we're doing a deep dive into Twitch lore to uncover some of the most interesting, weird and controversial reasons why various Twitch streamers have been banned. And this is definitely not because I'm planning to start streaming come the end of September, and therefore you should totally follow me on my Twitch to see my live streams as well as my other social medias. With that said, let's get into things. And I think you guys would have my head on a platter if I didn't talk about the infamous Dr. Disrespect. The video just wouldn't be the same if I didn't touch on the most famous permanent banning of all time. Now, I was never a very big Dr. Disrespect fan, so I took to the internet to try and find out why he was given the boot. And that's when I found this answer from Steve Garcia, profile picture of a pancake, so you already know that this is going to be a reputable source. And he said this:
Doc got what he deserved for showing his feet on stream. I saw several instances of him being barefoot in clips I saw on YouTube, and I was really disgusted, especially when I saw that clip of him showing his left sole for a few seconds while reacting to another clip. First, Beam is a fucking 39-year-old. Second, his jock outfit makes him look uglier with the mustache and wig, but I've never watched his streams nor reported him. I hate seeing adults and ugly-looking individuals barefoot. Alinity and XQC deserve permabans for the same reason.
So Pancake Garcia just murdered this dude, but he was wrong. His crusty feet weren't the actual reason he was banned. Probably. And I say probably because the real reason is just shrouded in mystery. So we have to take things back to the first half of 2020 because this is where our story begins. Dr. Disrespect signed a deal with Twitch to keep him on the platform for a few years. Apparently this deal was worth 8 figures. And it was immediately thrown into the flames of hell as he was then banned for violating community guidelines on the 26th of June. So he was banned, but initially nobody, not even Dr. Disrespect, knew why. It was about a year later in August 2021 when he finally gave people an update on the situation, saying that he now knew why he was given the ban and had known for several months. And the reason was just cause to sue the shit out of Twitch for damages. Due to the incident, Disrespect's income was allegedly slashed by about 75%. He wasn't allowed to stream with the same people anymore due to him now being on YouTube. He lost out on connections and brand deals, and so he took them to court, with the former Twitch streamer coming out in March of this year to state that while no side admitted any wrongdoings, the legal battle was over, leaving it at that. I really wish that I could go more into detail, but as with a lot of things in Dr. Disrespect's life, the entire thing was just shrouded in mystery. Perhaps for legal reasons more than anything else, but it has to be said that this entire ordeal must have been a very tough pill to swallow for the doctor. I think we should stick on the topic of lawsuits for our next story, and things are about to get really juicy. We're about to talk about the streamer known as Phantom Lord. And I'll be honest, of all the people featured in this video, I kind of feel like Phantom Lord is the least likely to come back to Twitch. He and the company have some serious beef together. So let's take things back to the year 2016, a nostalgic time for sure. Before hundreds and thousands of online scandals had taken place, people started to notice online gambling. It was the idea that if you pay a video game a bit of money, you'll have a chance of potentially getting a really good character, skin, weapon, or advantage, or you might get nothing. I'll be honest, I fell hard for FIFA microtransactions when I was 14. I didn't know any better. And essentially these video games were gambling for under 18s, but this wasn't really known, at least not at mainstream level. Well, this guy, Phantom Lord, was a bit of a naughty boy because he was promoting a bit of online gambling to his audience. He was a CSGO streamer, and for this reason, he was promoting a site called CSGO Shuffle, which by looking at it on the Wayback Machine seemed literally just like a gambling site. Here's the thing, and it might be a bit of a surprise to you though, as it turns out, it's generally accepted that Phantom Lord had a connection to the site that he was promoting. He had a bit of skin in the game. Whether that be financial incentives to promote it or if he actually owned it, we've never been told, but it's agreed that he has had ties to CSGO Shuffle. I believe that this was never disclosed with his audience, and so Twitch then went and permabanned him from their site. But here's where things take a sharp left turn, because by doing so, they actually broke their own contract with him. It's said that they they had to give him 30 days notice if they were going to ban him, they gave him 0. And so Phantom Lord did the American thing and he took them to court to sue the living shit out of them. It would take 3 years for a verdict to come out of this trial, and despite what you might think, he actually won against the company. Kind of. He and his team initially asked for between $15 and $100 million in damages, soon going down to 12 million and then soon back up to 63 million. And so with such a high asking price, what did he actually walk away with in the end? Well, he actually got 20,000. A far cry away from the 63 million he wanted, but a win nonetheless. Since the events, Phantom Lord has been less frequent in online spaces, but every time he feels as though someone's been unjustly treated by Twitch, he often offers to get his legal team to help out, with Twitch forevermore being his mortal enemy. So a former president of the United States is not the kind of guy that you would assume might get banned on Twitch for some reason, right? Our next story is probably one of the weirdest, if not the weirdest, in this entire video, and that's saying something. So apparently Donald Trump has been permanently banned off Twitch. And I know it sounds like I'm pulling your leg, but according to several reputable online sources such as The Verge, Forbes, TechCrunch, and many more, they reported back in January 2021, just as he was handing power over to Joe Biden, that Twitch had decided that Donald Trump was no longer allowed on the platform. I didn't even know that he had a Twitch account. I don't think he was going live very often. Now, according to a White House leak, I've actually received insider information. And that was that in response to this, Donald Trump, when he found out, replied, "Oh man, that's totally not POG." Of course, the true reason behind his banning was the 2021 Capitol attacks, where thousands of people stormed the US Capitol buildings to try and stop the transition of power between Trump and Biden. As of a result of these events, in which many people believe were spurred on by the former president, he was essentially blacklisted from every major social media site, with his Twitter account more famously being permanently removed. Twitch had the same idea though and said that this was the reason that they removed his account. The only remnants of it are on the Wayback Machine, but I don't know if it's just my crap internet or something, but none of the pages could load for me. Either way, that's the story of how Donald Trump himself, 45th President of the United States, got permabanned from Twitch. I mean, I'm sure I've spoken about Donald Trump in passing in recent videos, but so have I about this next streamer, ZillianOP. And his name is infamous. If you know his story, you know how absolutely bonkers it is. Things are about to get wild. His story might just be the most famous of all of these that I'm going to include here, with videos from SunnyV2 and Wavy Web Surf garnering millions of views. It's also one of the oldest stories today, and if you don't know this story, things are about to get real interesting. So in mid-2012, this man right here, ZillianOP, made a Twitch account where he'd stream various video games with a fairly substantial audience in and around the 300 viewers mark. Now, while his content might have just been of a plainly higher quality than many of the other people on Twitch at the time, it's fair to say that a big reason that he had so many active viewers on each stream was that ZillianOP was wheelchair bound, and it was a big part of the draw to his channel. He said that in 2011 he was involved in a serious car accident, and therefore had to be in a wheelchair, or so his audience thought, because in April 2013, the trajectory of his online career would take a dramatic turn, when suddenly, just like a miracle, he got up out of his wheelchair and began to walk. This was before realizing that his ruse had been exposed, shifting the camera down, turning the stream off, and lying, saying that he fell out of his wheelchair and that he had injured himself in doing so. As it turns out, this was not a miracle, but instead ZillianOP had been lying to his audience. People flocked to see that, yes, he was using his disability as a way to earn money from people donating to a man that they thought was truly disabled. Twitch banned him and he was soon forgotten about online. Until 2020, when the aforementioned Wavy Web Surf interviewed him and he spilled the beans on the situation. So as it turns out, things were more shades of grey than they might have first appeared, because apparently he was actually injured at a point in time. ZillianOP was injured when he created his Twitch account. The problem was that between the time that he created his Twitch account and the time that he got exposed for walking, he had actually been in rehabilitation, but he failed to disclose this with his audience. So it wasn't like he was lying, but rather withholding the truth, if you know what I mean. And I think that he started to think that if he just stayed in the wheelchair, then people would give him more money, which they did. So, fraud? Yes, at a point in time, but not initially. Everyone that donated to him got their money back, but Zillion, as well as another account that he made years later, were given permabans. A lovely, morally dubious story with a lot of twists and turns, for sure. If you don't know who SoaR Carl is, the next story might be a bit tough to understand due to the massive, glaring oversights that this Twitch streamer made. But if this video is going to prove anything to you, it's that Twitch streamers consistently make massive, glaring oversights. This was one of the biggest. So our story takes place in March 2020 when Call of Duty streamer SoaR Carl was intoxicated on stream. As you can see right there, he had a can of Coors out and he was playing around with a suspectingly unloaded gun. I think you can see where this is going because as it turns out, in truth, he did actually have a bullet inside this gun. The streamer didn't know this though and shot the gun at his metal cup at an extremely close range, with the bullet ricocheting and subsequently destroying a monitor. This would be the moment that his career would essentially die, because he was kicked out of the SoaR clan, leaving him now known as just Carl. He acknowledged that what he did was incredibly irresponsible and that it could have ended up with someone being injured or worse, but Twitch did not seem to care and his account is still down to this very day. It's a short story for sure. Luckily, no one was actually injured in the firing, but Twitch saw this as grounds to permanently take away his account. Twitch definitely seems like it's been ramping up its bans and suspensions this year, with the main character of our next story being banned from the platform in March. Online, he goes by the name Destiny, and he got banned for a similar reason as many of the people in my banned YouTube channel's video, and that was his views towards certain groups of people, or in the words of Twitch, promoting, encouraging, or facilitating the discrimination or denigration of a group of people based on their protected characteristics. The group itself is unknown to the public and might even be unknown to Destiny himself. Destiny believes that he was banned because of his views on trans athletes, a debate that is becoming more and more popular with every passing year. The idea being that if someone was born a biological male and then transitions to become female, they should not be allowed to compete with biological females, because being born a biological male, you're going to be given so many more attributes and just biological factors that are going to help you dominate in sport. It would essentially ruin women's sport. That was his opinion, and that's why he thought he got permabanned. But it might also have been because he invited Nick Fuentes, a white nationalist, onto his stream, and Nick Fuentes has already been permabanned from Twitch, so it might have been because he actually took someone that was permabanned and put him on Twitch again. Fuentes himself was also recently implicated in an uptick of hate raids against women and LGBTQ+ streamers on Twitch. Due to the Fuentes debate occurring shortly before Destiny was banned, many theorized that this was the reason that he was given the boot. But really, we don't have a definite answer, and going on half a year since his permaban, Twitch haven't gone back on their decision, and Destiny remains not allowed on the platform. So to my knowledge, DariusIRL is one of the smaller streamers that I'm going to include in this video. There's a good chance you haven't heard of him. And on top of this, his ban is fairly recent, only happening in July of this year. It's also one of the more interesting stories in this video, so we're going to have to backtrack a little bit to find out why he's no longer allowed on Twitch. So to provide you with some context, he was actually permabanned a few days before he was permabanned yet again. He was let back onto the platform eventually, but initially he was permabanned because he rapped the N-word in a song. You might see dropping the N-bomb as clearly violating Twitch's terms of services. Easy ban. But it's not that simple, because from sources I've read, DariusIRL is half black. Now, by looking at my complexion, you can probably hazard a guess that I'm not the right kind of guy to say who gets the pass and who doesn't. I don't know if you have to be all black, I don't know if you have to be half black or mostly black, or maybe even not black at all to say this earth-shattering word. this titan, this fast track to cancellation. So I decided to watch a panel of black people talk about the word, and I'm still no closer to understanding. It seems as though saying this word is subjective. It depends on the person, it depends on the context. But maybe Twitch knows, because he was granted his account back after he posted pictures of his ancestors on Twitter. I mean, I don't know how far back these people are, but it's fair proof, and he was granted his account back. For now. Because only a few days later he was given yet another permaban, this time for breaching sexually explicit content. And this time was a lot more clean cut, but not for the reason that you might think. Because he didn't really actually do anything. He watched a video that you can find on YouTube called Pretty Ricky Late Night Special. And the video is essentially of 5 guys gyrating in the air. The dance that they're doing is obviously suggestive, yes, but DariusIRL brought up a very good point that when it's compared to some of the stuff that's going on Twitch, what he was watching was very, very tame. Definitely not warranting a perma ban, and to be honest, I have to agree with him on this. I don't really know too much about his content outside of his bannings, and without saying my stance on nudity or near nude content on Twitch, if you're going to ban him for watching that, you're going to have to permaban a lot of people. As he said on Twitter, some people literally have ass cams out there, and I'm not saying that that's wrong, but if you deem this over the line, then you have to remain consistent, right? Or maybe you don't. I don't know. What do you guys think? Either way, 2 months later after being kicked out of Twitch, he has not been let back inside. Hey guys, this is Fox Post Edit, and I want to back up my point by saying something that happened last night. This guy here, Prezoh, he's a big streamer. Last night, he came in really drunk, butt naked, on stream, live on stream. He thought he turned it off. He came in butt naked and got into bed. You saw everything. Here's a question. How long does Prezoh get banned for? 3 days. And I'm not saying that he should be banned for any longer, but again, I am saying there's inconsistencies in what Twitch was doing there. I thought I should just mention that because it's a wild Twitch story that happened just last night, but either way, let's carry on with the rest of the video. I think that it's appropriate if we carry on talking about the topic of sexually suggestive Twitch streamers, because they've been a very big part of the platform for a good few years now. It's almost like a little identity of Twitch. And it's not just the people that react to adult content that Twitch has a problem with, but it's also some of the people that do it that come under heavy fire, as what happened to Indiefoxx in 2021. It's to my understanding that over the years, Twitch has become a little bit more relaxed on this kind of thing, but even then, every now and then you'll still see that they're sticklers for purity, and Indiefoxx's content was anything but pure. I don't know how much of this I'll be allowed to show, because while YouTube is a little bit more relaxed on this stuff, it's really not by much. Long story short, Indiefoxx kept creating the suggestive content, which Twitch had a really big problem with, and therefore bans were frequent. At one point before her permaban, she was banned 6 times in just as many months. So once her career got the final curtain call, it must have not been too much of a shock. Essentially, she was banned for her content, which is a bit strange, again, because there are a lot of Twitch streamers that do basically the exact same thing and face no repercussions. This was just an example of someone that did it and eventually did get a permanent ban from the site. There's not really too much of a story there, but I thought I had to include someone who was banned from Twitch because of their sexually suggested content, because it has become such a big part of the platform in recent times. Another thing that this video would not be complete without is a mention of Poseidon, who got banned in one of the most bizarre ways ever. So he's a creator that a lot of you might have heard of before, but you might not know the reason that he was terminated from Twitch's servers. And the answer to that story can be found if we flash back to the year 2017 for a moment. So Poseidon rose to prominence on Twitch initially back in 2015, being banned a few times over the next few years for a few days at a time, nothing serious. He was most known for his IRL streams. But Judgment Day came in 2017 though, because he did perhaps one of the dumbest things a streamer of his caliber could do. If a commentary YouTuber wanted to make a video on the matter, they'd surely make reference to the fact that April 28th, 2017 was the day that Poseidon's Twitch career died. Because it was the day that he was traveling on American Airlines Flight 458 in Phoenix, Arizona, where he decided to live stream his entire airport experience. And I mean everything. What gate he was at, what flight he was on, and people found out what time it was leaving, and he got swatted. I'm not going to say that this man deserved it, he is clearly the victim, and nobody deserves to be swatted, but I am going to say that there were very simple ways to prevent this from happening. Still, Twitch did not like this turn of events one bit, and they branded him too dangerous because the dude literally got a plane with many passengers on it swatted. They gave him a ban to the roar of disapproval from fellow streamers. But years on, they've kept their foot down, and he's had to look to other streaming sites such as the late Mixer, rest in peace, and currently YouTube to keep his streaming career alive. Luckily for him, this was the one and only time he got plane swatted. So this next streamer that I'm going to talk about comes from a very famous story that I'm quite sure you would have heard, but you might not have heard this part to it. And for me to explain this, we're going to have to go back to the early days of TikTok. To be more specific, the days of the "why do good girls like bad guys" meme, where some neek would pretend to be a nerd and, just like the Don't Judge Me challenge a few years before, act like a complete loser, cover the camera, and oh wow, they're a hot guy, I can't believe that. Within that trend came this guy here, TheBudday, who is, in my opinion, TikTok's first celebrity. This dude is the Fred of TikTok. He walked so Charli D'Amelio could run. I'm gonna delve more into the story of TheBudday in a future installment of the Book of the Banned series about banned TikTok accounts, but all you need to know is that it's alleged that the slightest amount of TikTok fame got to his head and he began DMing underage fans, causing his account to be struck. Now you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Twitch? And I'll tell you. A short while after these events, someone noticed this new account named Freak Alpha, which, to the shock and surprise of everyone, was Buddy Haynes, otherwise known as TheBudday. People began to look up this new username online, and guess what they found? TheBudday was a Twitch streamer under this new username. Not for long though, because once Twitch found out, his account was banned, as TheBudday has been essentially blacklisted from all social media. Again, I will speak about him a little bit more in depth in a future video, but just know for now he actually had a banned Twitch account. And now for the story of Narcissa Wright, whose tale might be the most extreme reason why someone on this video got banned. If you've never heard of her before, she's actually quite infamous online, and her story is a lot longer than I'll be able to squeeze into this video. I'd recommend checking out Cecil McFly's 3-hour video on the topic if you want a longer explanation. But if you want a nicely condensed version, Narcissa was one of the internet's most popular early streamers, being best known for speedrunning Legend of Zelda games, in total earning more than 30 million views and at a point in time frequently streaming in front of thousands. Her tale though would soon turn into tragedy, as eventually she would close her own Twitch account down due to negative comments that she was receiving. This was in 2016, but she would soon open it back up on her own accord. What was out of her control though was the face of her account in 2018 after she accidentally violated Twitch's policy on nudity and sexual content. Apparently her account was banned indefinitely, but she would return to Twitch in March of 2022 when something shocking would happen. She opened up graphic content from a viewer on her stream, causing Twitch to once again suspend her account. This is when Narcissa went off the deep end and tweeted, "I want to kill myself and shoot the people at Twitch HQ." This was met with a permaban from Twitch before shortly being reduced to a 22-day suspension, and then Twitch went back on her suspension, re-permabanning her, with Narcissa having to move over to YouTube ever since. Her reputation was tarnished before these events, but it's even more so now. I think that this would be a good time to remind you guys to follow my own Twitch account because I'm going to start streaming there very soon. Please also make sure to follow all of my other social medias, they're all linked in the description. Because that's all I have time for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Please let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see me do next, because I'm only 123 videos in and I'm already out of ideas. Thank you for watching.